Whether I'm going through my DMs or sat doing a TikTok live, there is a trend in questions that you guys ask me nearly every day. So I thought I'd give those in my broadcast community channel on Instagram the chance to send in some questions for me to answer in today's video. And if you haven't joined my broadcast channel, then go and do so now and become part of my community and in with a chance of winning future Vanquish and My Protein giveaways.
I'm around with a semi. Two of them I can't die in my city. Do it, shoot, ain't gotta be pretty. Catch them out and we handle the business. I ain't getting in no nigga business. 30 million, my mind in the trenches still. Fuck a good make.
So I wanted to do this video today to allow you guys to get to know a bit more about me and answer some questions that I get on a daily basis. So I picked out some good ones and found some that are PG enough to include in this video. So let's get into the first question. What do you do for a job? Now, a lot of people think I do social media full time, and this isn't the case. I do internet marketing as my so-called 9 to 5. I run that business in the day, and then I do my social media at nighttime. Right at the start, when it was just me, I had no editor, no videographer. I was training, filming, editing, all on my own, all sort of in the evenings at nighttime. I was just grinding really, like it's gotta be done. Now I'm in a position where I can afford an editor and a cameraman, so I can take a lot of the workload off of myself. But yeah, to keep a long story short, I do social media now as a job and I do internet marketing as well. Biggest red flag in a girl. I feel like there's only one real answer to this, and it is if they vape. I mean, boys, tell me if I'm wrong, but if a girl vapes, for me, there's nothing worse. The air is not that bad. Just, you know, breathe it, try it once or twice, okay? But yeah, I would have to say, biggest red flag, for me personally, is if a girl vapes, 100%. Favorite gym in the UK? This is a tough one. There isn't a lot of good gyms down south where I live in Bristol. However, my favorite gym would have to be EP Jungle in Manchester. I trained there a few weeks ago with my friend Mo Samuels, and then I recently went back there for my Protein announcement shoot. There is a reason why all the fitness influencers in the UK train at this gym, because the lighting, the gym itself, the people there, it's all sick. So if you haven't been and you do content creation or you just want a sick session, get yourself down to EP Jungle. Next question. What is your background story regarding fitness and health? As you all know, I was a very, very skinny lad growing up. I did every sport under the sun: football, rugby, tennis, cricket, cross country, athletics, like I did everything. I even did triathlons and I hated them. But I've been very sporty growing up. As I said, I was kind of pushed into every sport as a kid. And I kind of I stuck with rugby and football a lot, mainly football. And then I kind of just decided to call it quits at about 16, 17 when my dream of becoming a professional died, as everyone's does when they're a teenager. And then I just fell into the gym. And I feel like in terms of fitness, you either start from skinny or you start from overweight. And I obviously came from the skinny side. And I believe it's physically harder to sort of gain weight, but it's mentally harder to lose the weight and come from the other side of the spectrum. So that's kind of my background in terms of health and fitness. Most attractive thing about a gym girl to you? I'm trying to think what that could be. I reckon it's the mindset that comes with it, like their attitude.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
And it's the fact that it's something they can do with you. I'm talking about if they're your partner now, for example. Their frames as well. I mean, gym fits are only getting better, and typically a lovely set of cheeks comes with that. Favorite thing about My Protein? I'd have to say the team. The team there, from the minute I first got there, was so nice. Whether that's the team that sort of my athlete manager, or the people that were greeting me at the HQ, or the actual team of athletes that I work with. Luckily, I have the pleasure of a lot of my friends being My Protein athletes. So I have the pleasure of filming with them, training with them, and calling it so-called work. To round up, I would say, yeah, the team, 100% the team. How tall are you? Now, if I had a pound for every time I have been asked this question, it's all I get in my DMs, it's all I get when I go live on TikTok. To answer your question, I am 6'4". I grew super tall when I was like 17, 18. And you can't grow out and up at the same time. So I went so tall and I was like stick thin. I was the same height I am now, but I think I was like 70 kg, which is very skinny for this height. It took me years of training for people to even think that I went gym. But it's a common trend now, like every time I go and film with someone, it's the first thing they say, and they always have to make a joke about it in the comments when we post like a posing clip, for example. Ideal first date, what a question. I'd have to say Crazy Golf and then Nando's, because look, if it's not broken, don't fix it, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. Are you single? Yes, I am. So maybe my first date idea is broken because it's actually not worked. Yeah, I am single. I have been for like a few years now, and I haven't got any problems with being single. So many people force themselves into relationships because they don't like being alone. I just think that's so sad. Like, you have to be okay with being on your own. With everything I do, with work, with gym, and everything else I do, like, I haven't got time for a girlfriend, to be honest. I'm in my own lane and I'm more than happy to be in my own lane. How long did it take you to achieve this physique you have today? So I've been training since I was 18 properly. So I'm now 23, so yes, 5 years. And to be fair, it hasn't felt like 5 years at all. I've never ever once felt, oh, I've got to go to the gym today. I always feel like, you know, I get to go to the gym today because sometimes it's the favorite part of my day. Yeah, I've been training for 5 years and I don't plan on quitting anytime soon. All-time fave gym exercise, in brackets, not for a particular area, just overall fave to do. This is a great question. I'm immediately thinking leg extensions because I think my quads look so sick when I do leg extensions. However, I can't choose a leg day exercise as my favorite because that would just be psychotic. I'd have to say dumbbell incline press. I benched for years at the start of my training, and I've now for the last year or so moved over to dumbbells, and I just way prefer it. Like, I way prefer it. It's probably so much better for you as well. But to partner that, I'd have to say incline Smith machine press. I mean, that's a movement I've been doing for years. It is my favorite for chest. It just takes away all leg drive, all core stability, and you can just solely focus on your chest. So if you've never tried the Smith machine for incline press or even flat press, then this is your sign to do it. Most ideal fitness collab. My answer to this has been the same forever, and it would be David Lade. Being this height, you know, you can only really look up to a certain amount of people, because I'd never look up to someone physique-wise that wasn't attainable. And what I mean by that is if they're a lot smaller than me, I'm never gonna look like them. Whereas David Lade, Joe Fazer, these boys are my height. That was the kind of physique and the aesthetic physique I pushed for. And David Lade is like the GOAT of the fitness scene. So it's always been David Lade. I mean, he's the reason I started going to the gym. David Lade would have to be my answer. And I'm potentially going to the US later this year with one of my sponsors. So you might see a Sam Williams Fit x David Lade collab soon, I hope. What is your background story regarding fitness and health? As you all know, I was a very skinny lad growing up. I did every sport under the sun: football, rugby, tennis, cricket, cross country, athletics. Like, I did everything. I even did triathlons and I hated them. But I've been very sporty growing up. As I said, I was kind of pushed into every sport as a kid. And I stuck with rugby and football a lot, mainly football, and then I kind of just decided to call it quits at about 16, 17 when my dream of becoming a professional died, as everyone's does when they're a teenager. And then I just fell into the gym. And I feel like in terms of fitness, you either start from skinny or you start from overweight. And I obviously came from the skinny side. And I believe it's physically harder to sort of gain weight, but it's mentally harder to lose the weight and come from the other side of the spectrum. So that's kind of my background in terms of health and fitness. What food is good for the gym? How long have we got? This is a question that everyone wants to talk about, but people overcomplicate it. Like, if you just focus on high protein and just whole foods, like, don't avoid carbs, don't avoid fats, because you need them. You want to just focus on your protein and get it through whole foods. So, you know, eggs, chicken, steak, avocado, nuts. I think if you can just eat as clean as possible and get as many calories in a slight surplus with as much protein as you can, then that's the key, okay? Just avoid things like burgers, pizzas. I mean, I have just come back from my Ibiza and I had my fair share of those. You need to have a couple cheat meals every now and again. For the majority of the year, you will not find me eating that sort of thing, because my diet consists of the same thing every day, and it is a lot of the foods I've just mentioned. How long it takes to get 100K in Instagram? I mean, that question's just worded so badly, but it took me just over 12 months. I started Instagram just after TikTok, so I had a little bit of a boost from there. I wish I started at the same time as I started TikTok. It took me just over about a year, and to some people that's super fast, and then you see some other people and it's like super slow. So it's one of those, but I was happy with my growth on Instagram. I feel like consistency really paid off for me. I posted every day ever since I started posting on Instagram, and I feel like that was one of the reasons that I grew so fast. But I'm about to hit 150K. So it'd be nice to hit 200K in another 12 months or so. What's your highest deadlift? So I don't know when this video is going to come out, but I've got a deadlifting event on the 10th of August with Josh Barlow. So you might have seen on Instagram I did a deadlifting video recently because I haven't done it in years. I wanted to try it again before I film with Josh and we test my PB. But I ended up pulling 220. My all-time PR is 230, but that was sumo a few years ago. so I don't know if that counts, but I'd have to say 220 now, but I reckon I've probably got 230, 240 conventional in my locker. How many calories do you eat per day? This depends obviously if you're bulking or cutting. When I was bulking as a kid, I say kid, when I like a teenager, first starting to train, I was on like 4.5, 5K calories a day, like borderline force feeding, don't recommend. Leading up to Ibiza, I was probably on 2.5 to 3K calories and doing cardio most days. So how many calories I eat a day really depends on what time of the year it is and, you know, if I'm bulking or cutting. But on average, right now, post Ibiza, probably between 3 and 3.5K calories. I reckon that's like around my maintenance. Morning or evening gym session. I have always been an evening trainer. I've never trained in the morning. It's just, I feel so weak in the mornings. Like, even on weekends, I won't train before midday because my muscles just feel empty. They just feel so weak. Like, I get under that bar and I just feel so weak. I don't know why. I think it's because my body's got no carbs in it, whereas in the evening, even after a whole day's work, like, I feel great. I think it's because my body's got enough fuel, whereas in the morning, I think it must be down to that. I've never done it. I've never been a massive fan of morning sessions for that reason. So yeah, I've always been an evening trainer every time. Even if I'm taking pre-workout at like 8 or 9 o'clock and that affects my sleep, I still do it every time. So that wraps up today's video. All the questions are answered. Those are the ones that I typically get every time I go live on TikTok or in my DMs daily. So I thought, you know, it'd be good for you guys to get to know a bit more about me and I answer the questions that I get on a daily basis. If you want to see me do another Q&A, then be sure to drop a comment in the comment section below and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching. If you're new around here, then please subscribe as we have some huge videos coming thick and fast. And let me know in the comments if there's a video idea that you want me to film. Don't forget to be using code SAM on all your MyProtein and Vanquish orders, as this will give you a further discount as well as helping me out. Catch you in the next video.